What is going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. I, personally, super excited for tonight's game. We have first Monday Night Football of the season between my Baltimore Ravens, huge fan, and the Las Vegas Raiders. So I think that this is going to be, aside from my personal biases, I think this is going to be a really interesting game to watch. So I'm sure all of you know that the Ravens have been absolutely decimated by injuries in their backfield this year. Their top three running backs coming into the offseason are all out for the year with leg injuries. J.K. Dobbins, out for the year. Gus Edwards, out for the year. Justice Hill, out for the year. So now, the backs, instead of those three, for the Ravens, we have undrafted second-year player Tyson Williams out of BYU. He actually started his career at North Carolina, then transferred to South Carolina, then transferred to BYU. So he's been all over the place. He spent the entire year last year on the Ravens practice squad, has no carries in the NFL in his entire career. And he's going to be starting for the Ravens at running back on Monday Night Football. So that's a pretty big step up for him.
In the first ever regular season game, too, at the new stadium.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
So that's where the Ravens are at. Backup running back, we have Latavius Murray, who I think is going to be an excellent fit. I mean, he basically steps into that Gus Edwards role, same kind of straight up and down back that the Ravens like to utilize in a secondary role, the same role that Edwards has played the last couple of years. And then Trenton Cannon, number 3 running back for the Ravens today, who, I mean, he's a special teams player mostly. Was on Carolina last year, mostly just a kickoff return guy. So not expecting him to see a whole lot of volume today. So that gives us a lot of questions about kind of who's going to get the ball, who's going to get touches, who's going to get targets for the Ravens. A lot of opportunity, but also a lot of question marks. How is the Raiders' defense, says Ofi. Raiders' defense is really bad. I think that's an appropriate way of putting it.
At least they were last year.
Yeah, they were last year, that's for sure. But they let up a lot of points last year.
Yeah, teams were throwing on them at will. I think over-unders with the Raiders involved definitely was like, I think over 60% for overs. A lot of scoring in those games.
Yeah, for sure. Teacher says looking at Lamar over 27.5 pass attempts. So we'll touch on that when we get into the prop section. But for the first time, we have a new segment that we're going to be running today as well. And that segment is going to be brought to us via our good friends at PropSwap. So Ben, tell us a little bit about PropSwap and about the segment that we're going to be doing weekly.
Yeah, so more or less PropSwap is a secondary marketplace for buying and selling sports betting tickets, primarily futures tickets. There are all sorts of different tickets on there too. I would say about, 70-80% are futures. You get the occasional like 10-game parlay ticket, but those are more timely, right? But I mean, every once in a while you will have like a parlay futures ticket. I think I've seen a few on there where it's like this team to win the Super Bowl, and then let's say the Stanley Cup one already hit, NBA championship already hit, and then you could eventually get into position where you could sell that ticket. So anyways, the reason why we wanted to incorporate them is because I think there's a lot of opportunity in this market to make money if you know how to really evaluate sports betting and what to expect. So I think it's something we definitely looked into, and it made a lot of sense for us to start talking about tickets to potentially buy, because at the end of the day we're all just looking for an edge, and I think it's a great place to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. So that's going to come after we do the picks and props. So the plan was to start at 4:30 Mountain Time. We were running a little bit late. Had some last minute things to take care of. So we're going to go through the whole picks and props like usual, like the Monday and Thursday streams do. Then we're going to get into the prop swap segment. And then after that, we're just going to take a quick look at some of the early lines that are out for next week. And we're going to see kind of where we think lines are maybe too high, too low, where we're going to have some line moves. No official picks. We don't have any model results for next week. This is pure speculation, pure just looking at the lines and trying to forecast what's going to happen. But it's good to start that discussion for next week already. So in this game, we have the Ravens on the road, favored by 3.5, and the total in this game is set at 50 points. I think this has moved down quite a bit. I don't remember for sure, but wasn't this up in like the 5 or 6 range at some point for the Ravens? Or am I misremembering that?
It definitely was up to 4.5. It might have been 5, but I think it's primarily due to the running back injuries. And then also Josh Jacobs is set to play in this one. So from my knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's what is supposed to be happening. So at least one team is going to have their go-to back.
Yeah. So I think the number is maybe where it should be. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I think it sounds right about right.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think the line should have moved the way it did. It's right around a field goal. So yeah, a lot of the value is probably gone one way or another, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I think that making any game level bets here is a little bit of a risky proposition just because of all of that uncertainty. So we know that Jacobs is going to be playing, but how healthy is he? So there might be some question marks around that. And then, of course, on the Ravens, I mean, the backs could come in and fit seamlessly into the offensive scheme that they have, and the Ravens could be undervalued here. Or the lack of talent and the step down in talent could be an issue as well that really gives the Raiders the edge. Thank you, Dadbod, for the follow. Appreciate that very much.
Also, if you guys see my dog here, I think he just wants to be on camera.
I mean, you can pick him up, show him off.
I mean, it's obviously whiskey.
Pay the puppy tax.
Camera shy.
Yeah, I figured it was whiskey.
Yeah.
My dog is sleeping on this couch right over here. She might pop her head up at some point. So I think that the model results here are quite interesting. So based on the first 15 games that we had for the model, it's been a resounding success, I would say. The model is sitting on games where it has where it's 3 points off from the Vegas line. It's sitting at 7-3 right now, calling those totals and spreads, and that includes being 2-1 straight up on underdogs to win. The only loss, and 2 of those 3 losses in that category that I was talking about before, were in that Giants game. Mm-hmm. But here, we have another situation where the model likes the underdog to win. The model has the Las Vegas Raiders taking this one by almost 6.5 points. So this is the biggest discrepancy, aside from that Giants game,
that we've seen. Surprised to see that?
I was quite surprised. I mean, so I think part of it is the fact that the model knows who the players are at the offensive skill position. So putting in all of the bad running backs, the model knew that these guys aren't going to perform as well.
In a weird way, I disagree with the score, but I'm also happy to see that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I certainly think it's undervaluing, especially because Tyson Williams has not had a carry before. It's undervaluing the production that he's going to have. That is for sure.
Someone asked if I'm drinking a Modelo. No, it's a Diet Coke.
Where'd they ask that?
They text me.
Oh, they texted you? You're drinking a Diet Coke?
My therapist.
Your therapist? I'm drinking my therapist. It's not a Modelo.
But anyways, I'm happy because I think this is the beauty of the model, and what we do is we can interpret to say, like, okay, well, yeah, it's maybe guys who don't have a lot of carries, but are not having those 3 worth, I don't know, 4 or 5 points? Probably not, but at the same time, we can interpret that there definitely is a lack of talent for the backs versus who would potentially be, and if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am actually, I will say this. I agree with the model that if I had to pick, on principle, I don't bet sides on Ravens games. I don't like putting my money where my fandom is in the NFL. But I would
yesterday, Nick.
I would take. Wait, what? You took the Giants?
No, I didn't bet it, but it was weird because I'm like, for the sake of cap wise, I'm like, oh crap. But then at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm a Broncos fan. And also, I didn't feel bad because at that point we were set to go we went 6-1 yesterday. For those who are tuning in,
it was a fantastic day.
I was like, okay, that was the one loss. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I will say that I would lean the Raiders plus the points here, even outside of what the model said, and I think the model just is reaffirming. And I think the big thing for me is actually not the running back injuries for the Ravens, but it's the Marcus Peters injury. Yeah, so when they traded for Marcus Peters in the middle of the year, a couple seasons ago, it made a huge difference. So the Ravens had struggled with depth and kind of starting quality players across from Jimmy Smith back in the day and Marlon Humphrey. Smith is old. Humphrey is still one of the best in the league. But Peters really helped give them that solid 1-2-3 cornerback set that you need in the modern NFL. But now with Peters out, Smith on the decline, I'm really worried about the Ravens' ability to match up on the outside. I think that's where the Raiders have an edge here.
Well, I guess we'll get into the props here in a second, but
yeah,
I agree.
So Ben, what are your leans on the side and on the total? No official picks. We had no official picks that we gave out at all in this game. Everything is just leans and personal plays. But that being said,
Raiders.
Yeah, I like the Raiders. You're going to take the under, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah, I lean the under as well.
This screams backdoor cover territory, though, for that total. Like, I could see either way in this one where the total's like at 46 or something, and then either Lamar, runs for 20 yards and gets a touchdown, or Derek Carr throws the wall. Just has that feel.
Absolutely. So here, let me actually tell you the play that I did make in this game. I made one non-prop bet in this game, and it was the Baltimore Ravens team total under 27.5 points. So in doing that, I'm not betting against the Ravens winning. They can win a low-scoring game.
Yeah, tell yourself that, Nick.
But I think that the Ravens are going to struggle, especially putting the ball in the end zone. They might not have issues driving the ball, but I think getting that last 20 yards is going to be an issue. So,
how many field goals does Justin Tucker have today?
I think Justin Tucker's in for a huge day, kicker-wise.
That may be
3-4 field goals. We can take a look at kicking props, see if there's anything to bet on. Teacher says Ravens should sign Richard Sherman.
Teacher, I was partying with Richard Sherman last April. That's a true story. At the Circus Swim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the pictures. It's called an emotional hedge. Yeah, I mean, I'm not hedging against anything. I guess aside from my emotions, which is the point.
He's actually he's middling his emotions. If that's more of a middle.
Yeah,
7.5 points for Tucker.
That's
okay. Here's a really random question, and then we can head into the props. If Justin Tucker runs in for a touchdown, like on a fake, does he get 6 points?
He does.
Interesting.
Right. So you could consider a touchdown prop over 5.5 points for a running back, say.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I don't know when Justin Tucker would ever have the ball in his hands, because it's the punter, the holder.
Yeah.
Not him that has the ball.
I mean, I've seen some crazy things, but I'm not betting that. So.
Yeah, I wonder what Justin Tucker touchdown over 0.5.
Yeah.
That would be silly.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. Alan says, I think Ravens may just edge this game out. And yeah, M. Lind, I did say Ravens team total under. That was, as a Ravens fan, that was the bet that I placed here. Mm-hmm. So what was I going to say? Yeah, I feel like the Ravens, they don't feel like the favorite in this game.
Yeah, it's really weird. But at the same time, though, I'm like, all right, maybe we should take a step back because I don't think the Raiders are a good team.
No, certainly not defensively.
Yeah. So that's what makes this a really tough game to bet on, right?
Yeah.
So
I think the area where there is more of an edge, though, is the prop market here.
Absolutely.
So let's hop in to that. Let's take a peek at some quarterback props. So we have passing yards, Derek Carr, over-under set at 260.5. Lamar Jackson, over-under set at 213.5. So the model, as we can see, we have the model dashboard is the bottom screen capture on the left-hand side. It's probably going to overvalue Lamar Jackson's passing yards pretty much every game, just because it's going to overvalue the volume of passes that he has.
Is that more a game flow type of angle?
I think it's a small adjustment that I need to make moving forward, taking the specificities a little bit more at the team level into account as far as play calling is concerned. I mean, it already does, but
it's not outrageous though.
I think for teams on the extreme end, there are some discrepancies. So,
but this number is interesting though because part of me says, well, he's going to have to throw the ball more than he typically does because of the situation at running back. But then the other side of me says, like, well, maybe they can't get a running game going, and then there's a lot of 3-and-outs. But 213 seems kind of low.
It does feel a little bit low.
It does feel a little low.
And I think this over could like smash over if the Ravens have issues getting the running game going. If Lamar is dropping back on first and second down, I mean, his rushing attempts, his rushing yards is going to go over. His passing yards might go over as well. It's really going to be a Lamar game. He's going to win or lose this game for the Ravens. T-Cherry says, you said earlier over 27.5 passing attempts. Now it's under 28.5. I don't want to touch Lamar Jackson's passing attempts. I think he's going to be dropping back quite a bit, but he's liable to take off and run with those. If I could bet Lamar Jackson dropbacks, I would.
That's funny.
I think that's an over.
Yeah.
But the passing attempts, 28.5 for team total. Oh, yeah. I got you.
Raiders have 4 new O-linemen. I knew they had like 2. I didn't know about 4. Are they all 4 starters?
Yeah, I think they have four new starters on the offensive line.
Oh, I guess I did hear that. Yeah.
So yeah, I like the Ravens team total under. I don't think it's necessary to buy that extra point to get it to 28.5. Field goals are in play. It's not going to be a situation where the Ravens score 4 touchdowns. At least I don't think so. I'd be very surprised if the Ravens score 4 touchdowns. And yeah, the Lamar Jackson pass attempts, I think, is a fade spot. They're supposed to be okay. Says Deadbot about the offensive line.
Yeah, because Richie Incognito, he's in terrible, but.
So any thoughts on Derek Carr? 260.5.
To me, this number seems so game flow dependent.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
If
they're down, that's hitting. It's going to hit in the fourth quarter at some point. But if they're up and it's close, that's how I feel. And, you could say that about a lot of quarterback numbers, right? But I think specifically with this one, because if they get the run game going, they might just try to get the ball to Jacobs about 25 times, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So I think for me, this is a spot that I would stay away from. I would lean the over here, I think, but it's not something that I have any action on. So let's take a look at some rushing props coming up next. So, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. There we go. Okay. So Josh Jacobs, rushing prop set at 46.5. Only with the Ravens do you get quarterback Lamar Jackson with the highest rushing total in the game, 73.5. We also have Tyson Williams all the way up to 62.5. So the first thing I want to say is I think that Tyson Williams number is crazy.
Too high, right?
It's too high.
Yeah.
I mean, is he starting the game? Yes. Is it very possible he has a bad first series and then Latavius Murray takes over? Also, absolutely. Yes. I think just because he's starting, it doesn't mean that he's going to be the primary ball carrier for the whole game. I'd like for him to be. I hope he does well.
And Nick, even on top of that, even if he gets 60, 70% of the carries, this still isn't a guarantee.
No.
Because Lamar's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. And naturally, Lamar's going to have, 8 to 10 carries? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say.
So, I mean, I know a lot of those may be dropbacks, but it still is a possession out of the running back's hands. So I don't know. I don't know if there's enough to go around there.
No, I don't think so either. And it's, especially with all of the uncertainty, I just don't want to touch it. So actually, you know what just popped up here as we were speaking was Latavius Murray over under 22.5 rushing yards.
How much is he going to play?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're looking for a rushing yards over among the Ravens running backs, this is the one. Because the Ravens, with how much they run the ball, they always cycle backs. They always have multiple guys who get
They've always done that, yeah.
Several carries. So actually this wasn't on my radar because it wasn't up before. But I think that this over looks like quite a solid bet here.
It looks better to me than the other one, but can I confidently play that? I don't know.
So how many carries does Murray need for 22.5 yards? 6?
I was going to say.
To say confidently?
Yeah, 6. If he gets 6, I'd feel good about this hitting over.
Yeah, and I think he should get 5 or 6 carries.
So what's the deal with Cannon?
Cannon is probably going to be the kickoff return guy. Maybe
so like
coming in and he might get some passing down work. I don't really know. I don't think anybody really knows aside from the Ravens coaching staff.
Maybe they don't even know.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be, I think, quite dependent on just who performs in the first couple of carries. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we know that Williams and Murray are going to get some work early on. I wouldn't be surprised if they give Cannon a set of downs as well, just to see how he does. He's only got 48 career carries, so there's not a lot of knowns about how he's going to perform either.
True.
But he's a guy who he's fast. He's a kick returner primarily, so he's got to be fast. But he's another threat, I would say. Not a high likelihood threat, but still a threat to come in and yoink some carries as well.
J3 Ballin says, I love that under for Williams.
Yeah. I think the under for me
gotta be one of the better ones, actually. Well, I guess we do have one that we'll get into receiving props coming up next, right?
Yeah, I have one receiving prop that I really like.
Yeah. But this one it's starting to grow on me a little bit.
The Williams under?
Yeah. It's just there's a lot of uncertainty, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the uncertainty is what we're betting on in a sense,
it really
right?
Is.
Because if Williams, if Williams is the primary ball carrier, he goes over probably 60% of the time. Okay. But if there's like a 30% chance that he becomes the number 2 through the game, and he only gets 10 carries, then he's probably going under. So from that perspective, just the fact that there's the uncertainty makes the under a better bet because all of the uncertain outcomes negatively affect his rushing yards.
Absolutely.
So any guys on the Raiders that you want to look at, or we're going to fade Jacobs' health?
I'm fading.
Yeah, I think it's a fade spot for me as well.
46.5, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and we also got Kenyon Drake popped up at 29.5. But again, I think that's totally dependent on Jacobs. If Jacobs is fully healthy, he's going to get pretty much all of the carries. Dadbot says, how about total rushing and receiving for Williams at 73.5? So funny you say that. Ben, are you ready to hop into receiving props?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the one prop, I'm just going to go ahead and get this out, that I really like is this right here. Tyson Williams over 11.5 receiving yards. And here's why. Again, I think that the ball is going to be in Lamar Jackson's hands a lot, but the Ravens' receiving options are not great. So I think that the running backs are going to get involved in the passing game. Additionally, the Raiders allow tons and tons and tons of production through the air to running backs. For the Raiders last year, played 16 games in the regular season. 14 of those 16 games, they allowed a running back to go over this number receiving. And in those games, it was 20 total running backs who went over this receiving number in 14 games. The only 2 games that it didn't go over were a game against the Browns with 35-mile-an-hour winds and where Nick Chubb was injured and he didn't play in the whole game. And the other one was a game against the Falcons where Ito Smith, at one point during the game, had 13 receiving yards and then caught a pass for -3 yards.
Oh, that's a bad beat.
And went back down to 10. So that's a bad beat. But the Raiders seem very happy in the passing game to just allow checkdowns to running backs. And I think for the Ravens, that's going to be an important part of the offense today. Just without top-tier actual rushing options in the backfield, I think that a great way to get the running backs involved is going to be through the short passing game. And against the Raiders team, yeah, one screen pass. And against a Raiders team that's happy to allow the other team to do that as well, I think it's a great look.
Yeah,
Teacher says it's Waller's birthday and playing his old team. Seems like an anytime touchdown score to me.
Ooh,
Waller
birthday touchdown prop.
Yeah, Waller was I think a 6th-round draft pick out of Georgia Tech as a wide receiver back in the day. Got converted to a tight end after he left, and the rest is history. It says, I believe in birthday games as much as I believe in death games, where they honor the game to someone who just died.
Like the mascot?
What's the story there?
I thought he was talking about when the mascot passes away, you slam that team.
Yeah, or like if there's a team legend that has just passed away and they have a big ceremony before the game and they're all emotional and they gotta live up to the standard that was set.
You know, my favorite angle is, and I should have done this last year, but it's a player when they're close to getting like a bonus for hitting yards.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that with Antonio Brown, I think it was.
Yeah, he got
at the end of the year last year.
They kept just pitching him the forward pass, like the. Mm-hmm. That was great.
Yeah, Tom Brady was trying to pay his guy. So aside from Williams, I think on the Ravens side, there's nothing that I want to touch. It's just, again, I think that the backs are going to be a little bit more involved. I think Lamar Jackson is liable to take off and run a little bit. So I think all the numbers are kind of fair where they're at. Nobody's a guarantee to get any kind of volume. Anybody that you like on the Raiders side, Ben? So a couple numbers. We have
Waller, but it's so square.
The Waller over.
Yeah.
It's at 69.5.
Yeah, but hey, Bryan Edwards is another guy. And this is just speculation, but based on what I've been hearing out of camp, like they have some really high hopes for him. But
Yeah.
Is that just coach speak? Like, yeah, we have high hopes for him, and then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to go, we have really low hopes for our player.
Yeah, or they just don't talk about him, but all these media members, they talk about everyone at this point. So.
Yeah. I'm playing against Bryan Edwards in fantasy tonight, so I didn't even research this prop because I know I want him to go under. But
hey, Nick, that's not good to say.
I mean, that's just me wanting to win in fantasy.
Latavius Murray at over 22.5 or 33? Is that like alternate line?
Yeah, I think that the alternate 33 at plus 108, assuming that you mean 33 and not like 23. I think that number is bad for just plus 108. I do think that the rushing over 22.5 is a good look. Or is that a passing or a rushing plus receiving yards at 33? Because that could be worth a look also. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do think that there's certainly a chance that Tyson Williams struggles. Latavius Murray gets carries, and if he becomes the primary ball carrier at any point in this game, the over 22 is a smash.
Yeah, but back to Bryan Edwards. We'll see. It's hard to say, but I want to see the targets he gets. You know, it would actually be great if he goes under this for Nick's sake too. But if he gets a lot of targets but it goes under, I definitely look at it the following week.
Yeah, absolutely. Huskin Corn, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that very much.
Be husking some corn Saturday against those Sooners. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, assuming he's a Huskers fan. He's like, no, I'm a farmer out in Iowa. Go Hawkeyes.
You never know.
True.
Anybody else that you're interested in? I mean, I do think even though it's square, Waller's the guy that I would go with on the Raiders side of things.
Targets.
Yeah, the volume is so consistent.
Yeah. What is his receiving prop at?
Like receptions?
Yeah, reception.
His receptions is at 6.5, but the over is at plus 100.
Vegas 3.5 at plus 200. I would rather just go money line.
I think I agree. The money line's what, like minus 135, minus 140?
I've never been in a position where I bet something like that and you lose by like a field goal. Because then it's kind of like...
It's the opposite of buying points. You're selling points.
Yeah, you're like, I was right in my thinking, but was I? But the bet doesn't hit, so...
Yeah, I think if you're a 155 for Vegas, yeah, I think the money line's a better play.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's 3.5 points, but now you're asking to win by 4. It sounds good on the surface, but you know the Ravens have a really good field goal kicker. They're not going to leave a lot of points on the board.
No, they're not.
So that's something to. I mean, that's going to add up. Justin Tucker, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, he has 9 points.
Love me some Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
So this Waller receiving at 6.5.
Man,
it seems like a lot.
I think it's right where it should be.
Yeah. When I say seems like a lot, I meant like a lot to want to go even higher over than that. Not that it's an underplay.
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah, I can't do it.
I can't do it either.
I lean over, but...
Anything else that you want to take a peek at?
Mark Andrews. Talk about him.
Receptions or receiving yards?
Whichever one you want to talk about. I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on him tonight.
Yeah, I just think that this number is too high. So he's
inflated because of the running back situation?
I think it is inflated because of the running back situation. I mean, Andrews is probably going to be the number one guy targets-wise for Baltimore. Lamar absolutely loves him, and I do too. But I wouldn't want to bank on 58 yards for Andrews today.
And also, if they look to limit him, double team him, now what?
Yeah, I mean, and it's something you kind of can get away with against the Ravens, just because, like, Hollywood Brown is good sometimes, but aside from that, there's nothing scary.
Yeah,
it's like the opposite of scary. It's very soothing going against the Ravens receiving core.
Bateman's out with injury. I was excited to see him.
Yeah, so was I.
Better.
So anything else prop wise?
Nope.
All right. So let's talk about our top picks for the game. And then again, as a reminder for anybody who might have missed the intro, after we're done talking about the game, we have another pair of segments that we're going to be debuting today. The first one is going to be brought to you via Prop Swap. We're going to be talking about Prop Swap, what that is, and seeing if we have any props, any NFL future bets that we'd like to buy, some values that we think we can find based on what we saw yesterday. And then the second segment is going to be taking a look at some early lines for next week, for week 2, and just speculating, no official picks, no model results yet, but seeing if, just based on the eye test, if there's any lines that are a little bit too high, a little bit too low, if there's any spots where maybe we'd want to hop on some value.
I love week 2 because it's a great overreactionary type of spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what we saw in week 1, I think more times than not, it's not indicative of a team. I really
no. I mean, it's as indicative as any other random game.
Absolutely. I think that's the perfect way to put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the recreational bettor forgets that. I mean, look at the Packers, right?
Yeah.
That was their first game they really played as a team, since last year. They didn't do anything in the preseason. So, I mean, there was more going on than just that, but, it's a point to make there. So, yeah, we'll get into that after we go through the prop swap segment.
Yeah, so Ben, in this game, what is your favorite play?
I'm going to go with Tyson Williams under 62.5 rushing yards.
And I'm going to go with the Tyson Williams over 11.5 receiving yards. It's kind of interesting set of plays we have there.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know.
There is definitely a game script that fits, so yeah. I'm not upset with it.
Absolutely. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. All right, so done with the game, and on to some prop swap. I'm excited for this. Let me get like 2 seconds to get set up, and here we go. So again, for anybody who doesn't know what prop swap is, it's basically a peer-to-peer marketplace where you can buy and sell all different kinds of sports betting tickets, typically used for futures. You might see some longer-term parlays on there. But it's just basically a way where you can either buy some tickets to hedge, you can sell a ticket to hedge it if you can't cash it out yourself at your sports book, or you can just play it like the stock market, try and find value, try and buy low, try and sell high. That kind of deal.
Yeah, you could buy tickets, for example, like Broncos to win the Super Bowl. That would have been a great one to buy before the season. you get a win off the bat. Maybe you wait, have the Jags game, and then Broncos win again. Then you have the Jets. All of a sudden, a 50-1 ticket, I don't know, goes down to 30-1. Broncos are 3-0. Now you sell that ticket, and you can actually profit off of it without having the Broncos win it all. So I think it's pretty cool because before it was either it's a yes or no, right? It's either you win or lose. Now it's kind of dynamic. You can potentially, make some money off of the ticket before the outcome's final. So yeah, it's a great way to make some money, to try to stay one step ahead of the market, I would say.
Yeah, so Ben, we were looking through some of these before we started streaming, and I know that there was one that caught your eye. And I believe it was with the LA Chargers, is that correct?
It is.
So let's see if we can find this ticket
let's
right
find
here.
that. So
this is probably it.
Yeah, we'll see that you can bid on the ticket, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Let me give a little walkthrough.
Yeah,
for what we're seeing on the screen.
Numbers and the math on this stuff.
Yeah. So the marketplace kind of looks like this. You can search for all kinds of different teams, players. You can filter by sport. You can filter by type of ticket. So if you see a ticket that you like, though, you can click on it, and it opens up a screen that looks like this. You can either buy a ticket for a price that has been listed. So this LA Chargers future ticket was placed at odds of 25.15 to 1. And they're looking for $13 for this ticket. And the ticket pays out $340. However, you can also bid on the ticket. And this is where the value comes into play. Right? It's almost like an eBay auction. Where you're looking to get in, find an item at a price that undervalues it. So if we were to bid $5 on this Chargers Super Bowl ticket, and it pays out $340, what odds are we getting implied wise? I think is that 25.15 to 1?
No, so the 25.5 to 1.
Or is that on the price?
Yeah, that's on that. Yep, that's on that price. So where it's at now with a $5 bid, it's 68 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So
and yeah, and if
it's not going to stay at 5 to 1. Or
sorry,
no,
it shouldn't stay at $5. Because again, like Ben said, that's valuing it at 68 to 1. And if you look at the actual betting market right now, LA Chargers to win the Super Bowl are listed at plus 3,000. So if you can get this in that $5 to $10 to $11 range, what you're doing is you're getting a better price, a better odds on your Chargers than you would be if you just went straight to a book and you bought it there instead. So I think that's pretty cool. So Ben, top prop swap today is going to be looking for this Chargers ticket in like that $10 range.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think $10 is a number I'm comfortable at. I guess you could go 11, but I think 10, 34 to 1-ish. I would go with the $10 bid on that. It seems like a good price and gives you a little bit of wiggle room margin.
Yeah. And I think you're pretty happy with what you saw out of the Chargers yesterday. You were on that. The model liked Washington. I liked Washington. Of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt, but the Chargers looked pretty good. They pulled out a good win.
They did
against a playoff team.
Defense to beat. So, regardless of what happened there, I with Fitzpatrick, I still felt comfortable with what I saw out of Herbert, and they looked good. I mean, it was a close win, but that's to be expected on the road against a good defense. So this is really interesting, Nick. Mm-hmm. And I think this is what makes it really fun is next week, the Chargers are at home against a Cowboys team that I'm high on, and they look pretty good. If the Chargers win against the Cowboys, you definitely got some serious value with this price, right? If you can get it at $10, because that number is going to be long gone. So conversely, though, if they lose, puts you in a tough position. So at the time, right? Chargers could lose, and then they could win the next 5, and you're still in a good spot. But if we're looking at it from just that perspective, it's kind of like timing the market, which they always say is never a good idea to do. But I still like where the value is at, and I think if you can get this ticket for $10, it's a good buy.
Yeah, I completely agree. So another team that I am looking at is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. So the Niners looked great yesterday for the first 58 minutes of the game. I think that people who weren't paying attention are going to see that score, going to be a little bit worried about it. But I think that if you actually watch the whole game, the 49ers looked fantastic. The offense was unstoppable. Defense was playing really well. So the Niners are a team that I think is going to be a little bit undervalued in the Super Bowl futures market. So we found this other ticket. It happens to be the same seller as the other one that has no bids right now, paying out $320 for the Niners to win the Super Bowl. If you go to a book, the Niners are sitting right around plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl. So valuing it at plus 1,400, you're looking at about $21, say, to get fair value for this ticket. But again, with no bids, I think if you could grab this ticket for somewhere in that $15 to $18 range, they're asking $22, which is not a good value. But if you could grab it in that $15 to $18 range, give yourself a value on the Niners more in the plus 1,700, plus 1,800 range as opposed to plus 1,400. I think that's another fantastic spot to look for a Super Bowl future based on the performances that we saw in Week 1.
Absolutely. I'm happy with what I saw out of them, and defense, right? I mean, that defense is going to carry them throughout the year. And 49ers actually have a pretty lenient schedule too. So this is probably a good time to get in on this.
Yeah, it's a tough division with the Seahawks and with the Cardinals, but they're a team that can easily win a wild card game. They're a team that could win the division.
Schedule, it's funny because they get to face the Jags, the Bengals, the Bears, the Texans, right? The Falcons didn't look great, but then, like you said, the divisional games are always going to be tough. But overall,
I think they because of where they finished last year, they get the easier kind of out of conference, out of division games relative to the Cardinals and Seahawks and the Rams. So yeah, I definitely I'm high on the Chargers. Or not on the Chargers. I'm high on the Chargers, but I'm also high on the Niners.
No.
All right, so last but not least, with PropSwap, if you are interested, you can check out the link that I'm throwing in the chat. Go to PropSwap.com, and when you sign up, you use code CAPWISE, you receive a $100 or a 100% deposit match up to $100. So be sure to use that promo code if you're interested. Be sure to check out PropSwap, and thank you to them for sponsoring this segment of the stream. Again, we're good friends with them. Ben knows the guys who founded it personally.
Yeah,
good guys over there.
It's growing quickly. Like their numbers,
this is the future.
Yeah, totally. It's another market that
it's
really find some good money in. Like for example, the Chicago 12 guy. I think that's I don't know if that's the number of transactions he has, but
I think it is.
I mean, you could get a lot of value. Like just think about if you bought a bunch of Broncos tickets.
Yeah.
Like you're in a really good position.
Or I mean, it doesn't even have to be that, right? You can just find value. It doesn't matter what the value is, but if you're just getting much better implied odds, you can just hold it and, saying try and flip it.
From more a seller's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it's fun because talking with them, there's guys who specifically are buying low and they're saying, hey, Broncos, 60, 70 to 1. Yeah, whatever. I like that. And then, there's also a strategy where you can buy 2 tickets, right? You hold one and then you kind of sell the other as a hedge. So a lot of strategies, a lot of things you can do. And yeah, I think it's great. It's it's kind of peer to peer, so it's a great way to find some value.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and take a look at lines for next week now. So a lot of these are out already.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna scroll through these, okay? So the Thursday night game. We have the New York Giants going on the road to Washington. Washington favored by 3.5, over/under set at 41.
Yeah. You know what?
What?
Doesn't this feel like the Giants are going to win this game?
Oh, absolutely.
there's no way you could convince me to bet Washington 3.5
with Taylor Heineke at quarterback.
And I actually don't think he's.
No, actually, I like Taylor Heineke. I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's a Thursday night game. Saquon Barkley is going to be better than he was in Week 1. I mean,
the Broncos did a fantastic job containing the run game.
Yeah, and also he's 80% maybe. Like I think the whole idea was to get them out there and just I don't want to say nerves, but just get that feel, get a few hits.
Yeah,
and yeah, the next game, I can see him being more intricate part of that offense, but still 3.5 for Washington. Yeah, no.
So the next game is probably the most impressive team from this week. New Orleans Saints going on the road to Carolina. And New Orleans is only -3.5. So my first thought is that seems way too low. I'm not expecting the Saints to play the same way that they did last week, but only 3.5 on the road against Carolina, who only beat the Jets by 5. Does that seem fishy to you, or do you disagree?
I can tell you that the Saints are going to get a lot of money at 3.5.
Yeah, I think the Saints are going to get a lot of money at 3.5 as well. But that money coming in early, that doesn't mean it's stupid money.
No.
I mean, and it certainly feels that. I mean, it certainly means that this line is going to close somewhere else. So if you're just looking from a CLV perspective, the Saints 3.5 feels like a spot to hit.
Unless you see some weird reverse line movement action, but I don't see a lot of sharp bettors, smart bettors betting on the Panthers.
No, and I don't think that the public is going to have a lot of confidence in Sam Darnold either.
No. Public's at 3.5, the public would be all over the Saints, and they probably will be all over the Saints up to 5.5. So,
yeah, I think so too. I think honestly until it crosses 7, the Saints are going to be a smash spot.
This is almost the
for the public
telling us that the Packers were just so god awful. To be completely honest, like hypothetically,
I completely agree.
If the Packers would have been more competitive in that game and the Saints only won by like a score, I feel like this line would even be better. But it's almost like there's the narrative of like, oh, Aaron Rodgers didn't even try.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing actually. Is like it's like reverse line movement but applied to team performances.
Yeah, kind of weird because you typically wouldn't see that, right? It's like, hey, it's a blowout. Oh, now the Saints have.
Yeah, it's like if Alabama beat some FCS team.
Yeah. And
blew them out. It's like,
that's the comparison.
Nobody's gonna care. So next up, we have Houston and Cleveland. Huge spread here. Cleveland favored by 12.5 points. Also, Tyrod Taylor. Oh wait, no, never mind. Tyrod Taylor's still starting. I read a headline earlier. It said Texas starting a new quarterback. So University of Texas is starting a new quarterback. I thought it said Texans when I read it, and I was like, what happened to Tyrod Taylor? I didn't see anything go wrong.
Did another doctor puncture his? No,
it's possible.
Okay, first of all, the Texans dominated the Jags, so
yeah,
I guess they don't get a lot of love there for that.
No, I guess not. I mean, Cleveland looked really good against Kansas City for most of that game, but 12.5 seems like a lot.
It's a lot of points.
And again, I don't think that Houston is as bad as people think they are. We were on Houston yesterday. Model had Houston winning outright against Jacksonville, despite everybody loving Houston.
Well, when we say, I mean, we didn't officially.
It was not an official play, yeah. but it was an upset pick that the model had correctly called.
Yep.
And it was probably my next closest thing that I was close to playing.
I would have been very skeptical of that. I would have been like,
I mean, it was just a Tyrod Taylor being extremely undervalued.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
To be honest.
But yeah, the 12.5 feels like too many points. total at
feels like
48
an under
feels
for me,
about
too.
right.
Under?
You think under at 48? You think it's
Yeah,
going to move
especially-
down?
I do, because I know it was the Chiefs, right? I mean, Chiefs put up 33, but at home, if Browns get a lead, I mean, they're
Yeah, this could be a slow tempo
they'll
game down the
run
stretch.
ball. I might look at a Mayfield under, something along those lines.
Yeah, we're not going to have passing prop or player props out yet.
Yeah, not until usually Wednesday. So,
But yeah, I think that's a pretty good angle actually. Looking at Baker Mayfield potentially going under passing yards here. So next up we have a team that I was just talking about, San Francisco, -3.5 on the road at Philly. So Philly looked pretty good. Although how much of it was Atlanta just looking
God, come on, Atlanta, figure it out.
So I think that this total is going to move up from 50. I think that Philly's offense looked pretty decent. San Francisco's offense looked great. And the Lions, even though early on they didn't have points, they were able to drive on San Francisco the whole game. There was just like a missed field goal, fourth down conversion failures that prevented them from having more points earlier on in the game. So I think that this line's probably going to get up to like 52 if I had to venture. That's kind of where I was expecting to see it.
Yeah, I could see it going up, definitely. I don't like anything in this spot.
No, I mean, honestly, I think that San Francisco -3.5 might be a good look just early on. Again, because they blew the Lions out a lot more than the final score would indicate.
Mm-hmm. Although I do see the public jumping on the 49ers.
Agreed. I think that the Niners are going to be a public play. The same way that the Saints were. It's the same number that the Saints got.
I think there's a lot of skeptics out still for Jalen Hurts. They don't want to say he's solid yet after one game. Just be honest.
Yeah.
So if you want to go against that, I mean, you could probably wait and get the Eagles at +4.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might move.
I agree. I think that it would move.
Yeah. In a spot, Nick, where it's at 3.5. I've always said this, and you can disagree with me, but I'm willing to wait to see if it goes to 4. And if it goes to 3, I'm okay with taking it at 3, if that makes sense.
Looking at the side with the minus?
Oh no, with the plus.
Or with the plus.
Yeah, so if I'm seeing a +3.5, right? And I'm just uncertain which way it's going to go. I'm okay with waiting to see if it goes to 4, but if it goes to 3, I'm still fine taking it at 3.
Why not just take the 3.5?
Because I think getting a 4 is more important than losing out on a 3.5 to 3. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I just wanted you to explain yourself.
Yeah. Did I get an A?
You did. You did get an A.
But there's not a lot of math behind that, though.
No,
so.
I think it totally makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're getting the +3.5 and it moves to 3 instead,
Yeah.
I mean, what happens? You push it 3 still,
Okay.
or you push it 3 instead of winning at 3.
Mm-hmm.
But if it goes to 4, wait a second.
Got it at 3.5.
No, but you didn't get it at 3.5 because you waited.
Well, you're saying hypothetically if I would have bet the 3.5. Oh no, okay, I get what you're saying. I wait, it goes to 4, boom, bet it at 4.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, I think we're confusing ourselves. I'm confusing myself.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I honestly don't know which way this is going to move though, because Eagles are at home. They look good. It's one of those weird type line. Yeah. But anyways, we'll move on.
Yeah. So next up, we get the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. So my first, well, I have a very strong instant feeling about this. I'm curious to know what you think, though. I think you know what I think.
I actually don't know.
I was immediately thinking under here at 43.
I was thinking under and Jets plus 5.5.
Yeah, I think that the whole AFC East, aside from the Bills, and maybe even including the Bills after yesterday,
Yeah, I was like Bills lost.
is spots that I want to avoid as far as sides are concerned. Because the quarterback play is so bad. Mac Jones is terrible. Tua is terrible. Zach Wilson is terrible. It's just, I think it's under City, especially when they're playing each other.
Yeah, and the Patriots didn't look bad. That fumble, I mean, that really cost them. But Mac Jones looked all right. He looked good. So
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that he's terrible.
yeah,
But
it's
he's
a tough one, right? Two rookie QBs.
Yeah.
I think I saw a stat about Bill Belichick going up against rookie QBs.
What did the stats say?
He's like 65% ATS against those guys.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they lean unders heavily too. So it actually fit where you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I might run this one first just to see if the model confirms under.
I bet it's going to be like a 21-16.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing, though. So we gave out last week as an official play. I keep saying last week. It was yesterday. We had an official play yesterday.
Yeah, we're already moving forward. So
it is still in week 1. Yeah. But we had the Patriots-Dolphins under at 43.5. And we gave that out as an official play, despite the model only actually liking the under by a quarter of a point. And it was kind of a no-sweat under. So I think this could be another under spot for sure. We'll have to see, though. Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chicago Bears. Bears at home, favored by 3. Over-under set at 45.
I'm probably staying away from this one, personally.
Yeah, my first instinct was Bengals plus 3. I'd like to get another point or so.
This is just so trappy to me.
What's trappy?
Who's running to bet on the Bears?
I mean, I don't think anybody's running to bet on either of these teams.
Well, Bengals won.
Yeah, I mean the Bengals won, but the Bengals have also been clowned on all offseason. In fact, I think that people would be running to bet against the Bengals after a win, thinking that they're getting value.
I think you're overthinking it.
Am I overthinking it?
Yeah, maybe in our community, people are smart like that, but
well, I know, but doing that, I think, is not smart. No, I think the public is slamming Bears.
No way. Anyone in the chat, what side is the public going to be on? Which feline?
Do we have data? We could probably look already.
What?
Betting stats. Oh no, there's no. They don't have the numbers up yet.
I could pull it up. Let me see here. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's see if they might just have tonight's action. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not saying it's going to be like a 70-30 split, but I think it would be 60-40.
Still though, if this gets to like 4.5, I think I like the Bengals quite a bit.
Yeah.
Next up, Bills and Dolphins. Ooh, this looks good.
Synchronicity said, I think Bengals.
You think Bengals? Maybe I'm wrong. I tend to be wrong with that kind of thing.
I think you overthink it.
Yeah, I mean, I overthink it and then think that everybody thinks like that. Yeah. And then I've just always moved that one extra step.
Nick,
that puts me on the wrong side.
I think we need to go to a sports book and just remember and like talk to people.
Yeah, I've never been to a physical sports book before.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can, if you get online enough, you can hear all the takes, but it's just... I
also completely avoid social media, so I don't hear the takes.
7-2 against the spread since 1985.
Well, I've only played 7 games since 1985.
It's like, oh god. All right, Bills, Dolphins. Bills got to bounce back.
This feels like such a good number for the Bills.
It really does actually.
This
I
feels
think
like a
Emmanuel
crime.
Sanders is back too. Wait, did he even play? Am I tripping?
I don't know.
No, he didn't play. Not that totally changes it, but
But yeah, this kind of feels like a crime, getting minus 3.5 for the Bills. That's my first instinct. I again, to reiterate, I am about as low on Tua as you could possibly be. I have a really funny stat that I'm going to post in the Discord tonight. I can go over it right now.
about the Bills.
Let me pull up my file. No, about Tua.
Also, Emmanuel Sanders did play 4 for 52. My apologies.
Nice. I saved a file on my desktop yesterday that I was making called Tua Sucks. So Ben, I'm going to read off a list to you, okay? And this is a list of quarterbacks who this week threw a pass longer than the longest completion Tua has ever had. Okay? Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, Tyrod Taylor, Tom Brady, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trevor Heineke, Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Jameis Winston, Matt Stafford. Every single one of those players Brady on Thursday, but yesterday, this week, had a completion longer than the longest completion Tua has had in his entire career. And this is factoring in the fact that Tua broke his own personal record for longest completion yesterday. It went all the way up from 35 yards to 36 yards. But Tua just is incapable of completing deep passes. I don't know if it's play calling or it's talent or it's play calling because of talent. But this Dolphins offense is the lowest upside offense I've seen in a very long time. Just because of there's no deep playability.
Mm-hmm. So question.
Yeah.
When you know that information, does it make you want to play an under team total for the Dolphins?
At this number, actually, yeah. So I mean, if we're looking for, I guess I could pull it up.
Yeah,
but if you're looking for,
it's probably 19.5 for a team total.
No, team total was probably like for the Dolphins 23, because they were 3.5 point favorites, right? Or was New England favored? I forget which team was favored. But either way, in this one, Dolphins team total is going to be 21 or 20.5. Let me just pull it up to make sure.
Oh, it's going to be 20.5.
Oh no, it's not going to be 20.5. It's going to be like 22. Maybe 22.5. Because you want two numbers that differ by 3.5 and add up to 48. So
25.5.
Yeah, 22.5 for the Dolphins.
Kind of like that under.
Yeah, that feels like a good under. I like everything related to the Bills here. That's my first instinct. Except for like a Bills team total over. Yeah, I think this one's going to move. This is one that we should keep an eye on for sure. Mm-hmm. So next up we have your Denver Broncos, favored by 6 on the road in Jacksonville. You have to think the public is going to be slamming Denver.
Absolutely. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't gone to 7 yet, because the Jags just lost to arguably the worst team headed into the season.
Or what people thought was the worst team.
Yeah, they thought they were the worst team, but maybe they are the worst team. So
I mean, they were the worst team last year, and all they did was add Trevor Lawrence.
Man, this is so trappy to me, because
it does feel a little trappy.
Yeah, Broncos looked great, but also Giants did not look that good. So
yeah, Teddy did a good job taking advantage of what was given to him, aka absolutely wide open receivers on third down. And he did a great job of winning pressure.
Mm-hmm. So now, -6. Gun to my head, I'm saying Broncos -6 all day. But
Yeah, I agree. I think
Yeah.
it's going to move in the Broncos' direction. Although I think if we get to like 7 or 8 or 9 or something,
Yeah.
that's trappy.
Yeah. So I guess the point here is if you want Broncos, you should probably get it at 6 because what universe do we see this going to -5.5?
I don't think it's ever going to -5.5. Yeah, Judy is out. That's a good point. But still, I mean, the
Yeah.
offense was clicking just fine without Judy.
It doesn't really change too much, in my opinion, because Tim Patrick, he looked pretty good. Like he's a decent fill-in. I'm not saying he is Jared Judy. Also, Cortland Sutton over time is going to be better. He's coming off that injury, so I actually lean under here, Nick,
Yeah, I could see this being a pretty nice under spot.
because I could see the Broncos, and they've done this in the past. And I try not to get into trends. I always say that, and then I bring it up.
And then you do trends anyways.
But it's an 11 o'clock start time, and I swear to God, the Broncos, there's something there when they start early. I kid you not. That's not my main point here and why I like it under, but would not be surprised if they come out a little sluggish. This is just an ugly ass game. So, anyways, yeah, I would say get Broncos on -6 if you like Broncos.
So next game, LA Rams and Indianapolis Colts. Colts were a kind of a big letdown last week. I know you're really high on the Colts this year. They had a great first drive and then allowed Russell Wilson to just pass all over them.
I think I tweeted, or no, it was the Discord. I messaged and I said, "Wow, the Colts look great."
Yeah, you did.
So at that point in time, they did, but that was it.
Rams
The
favored by
offensive line
4.
actually struggled.
Yeah, Rams favored by 4, total at 47.5.
So Nick, can you look up if Eric Fisher is going to be back next week? Because I think that plays a pretty big role in this one.
Unofficial, unconfirmed right now. Latest headline I see says has a chance to play in week 2.
So here's how I look at
remains
this.
to be seen.
Rams were the Rams, and we knew that they were going to be good, and they did what they needed to do against the Bears. They covered. Like you said, the Colts didn't look great, but at the same time, that was Wentz's first game, and it wasn't even Wentz had a really bad game. He just didn't have a lot of time. It was a great game by the Seahawks. I actually kind of lean +4 here a little bit, but maybe that's just my bias because I have been higher on the Colts headed into the season. Seems like a Rams win, but maybe by a field goal.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. So if we didn't have any information at all about what happened last week, what would the spread be here?
3.
You think it's +3? Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah.
So then does what we saw last week make us feel a point more strongly?
I would say no. Like I don't want to say like are you down on the Colts now?
I wouldn't say.
Or is it
I
more
mean,
just-
I was never high on the Colts. I don't trust Carson. I don't quite trust Carson Wentz. I think is my big thing. I think the Colts overall are a solid team, but I need him to prove that he can actually play well
Yeah.
before I trust them. I mean,
Yeah.
like since he got hurt, he hasn't been good, and like I don't know what the until he's proven that he can be good. I don't want to count on him being good again.
Yeah. So I would put it this way, Nick. I personally, if I had to pick, would pick Colts +4, but I don't see us betting this personally. Either
No,
one of us. And I also don't think the model will like either side, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fade.
Yeah.
I think the lines could move a couple points in any direction for me, and it's still going to be a fade.
Yeah. Because even at +6, Colts, of course, would feel better, but but +6 seems a little high, right?
+6 does feel a little high, but at the same time, the Rams can pass all over them like the Seahawks did.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like it's an offense that's equipped to do very similar things to what we just saw the Colts struggle defending.
Mm-hmm.
So, got a couple more games to go. I think 4 maybe. Minnesota and Arizona. Arizona -4 at home. Total set at 51. This feels like Arizona's going to be a big public play here.
Arizona looked damn good.
They did. They looked really damn good. And
think
Minnesota
they're the
was
most
a little bit of a
impressive
letdown last week relative to public expectations against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a line that's going to move. I think if you want the Vikings, you can get them at a much better number later on in the week. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but, I mean, you're going to get a lot of public action on the Cardinals, so I think you gotta grab this number.
Yeah, if you want the Cardinals, grab it now. If you want the Vikings, it's only going to get better. You could probably wait till Sunday if you want the Vikings. Next, we have a really disappointing team from last week, Atlanta, going on the road to Tampa Bay. Tampa -13.5. Total set at 52. That feels like too many points.
Man, that's a lot of points.
That is a lot of points.
I think it opened up 12.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is a lot of points.
13 points for almost 14 points.
That's wild.
I don't really know what to expect with this one.
Yeah, Atlanta should be better than their performance yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, they did perform the way that they did yesterday, which was very bad. Tampa, I mean, offensively at least, looks like they're in high gear. It's just tough, but I still think that 13.5 is too many points.
Yeah. Curious to see if this gets to 14.
Yeah. I think if this gets to 14, that's like a for sure hop on Atlanta. I would think. 13.5, I'm still hesitating. I want to wait for the model, see what it says.
Yeah. I bet the model is going to prefer the Falcons.
I would think so.
Yeah.
At this point in the year, yeah.
What about the over?
What about the over? I mean,
Bucks defense.
in order for the over to hit, I mean, so what's the Falcons team total at? 20? It feels like a lot for the Falcons to get.
20 to 33. 32.
33.
It's a lot of points.
It is. It is a lot of points. I almost feel like a Falcons team like a Falcons team total under, or even a Bucks team total under actually. At 33.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think this is a spot to wait. I think that these lines are going to move a little bit. I like the plus 13.5, but not like so strongly. All right, so we got next up Dallas and LA. Let's run through these quick. We got kickoff in 5 minutes.
Dallas, LA.
Yeah, LA Chargers +3, total at 55.
Man, it scares me though because Cowboys look pretty good.
Cowboys did look pretty good.
I feel better about the Cowboys than I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Chargers pull this out.
Yeah, I know you're really high on Herbert. I mean, but let's keep in mind, Dallas did just lose by 2 to Tampa.
They did.
And I believe that game was in Tampa. Or was it in Dallas? I think it was in Tampa.
It was in Tampa.
Right, so I mean, from that perspective, this just feels wrong. My lean is Dallas plus 3. That's true, but I mean, it was against Taylor Heineke, not against Tom Brady.
Yeah, but would you say, though, in a neutral setting, like these teams are even?
I think I would think Cowboys plus or minus 1 on a neutral field.
I almost feel like the public might be in the Cowboys here.
Yeah, it's a little strange for the public to be on the dog.
A road dog.
But a road dog, but I do think that this is a spot where the public is going to be on that road dog.
Yeah.
So next up, Kansas City and Baltimore next week. I don't want to speculate on the Ravens or the Raiders until they play tonight. And then last but not least, Detroit on the road at Green Bay. Green Bay minus 10.5, total set at 48.
I like Green Bay.
Is that you under reverse psychology reacting to last week?
Yes. But also, you could look like a fool.
Yeah, I don't want to touch Green Bay.
I'm curious what the model's going to say.
I'm curious what the model's going to say also.
Very curious.
I think it's going to like Detroit again.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a nice over spot. I think the over might be the correct call on a Packers offensive bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that wraps up the lines that we have for next week. That was just our first look through them. I hadn't looked at any of them before. That was all first instincts, no research, just thoughts. And again, to recap, the Ravens game, no official plays. We have leans on the Raiders to cover 3.5 and on the under 50. Mm-hmm. Favorite picks that we had in this game. Also, this is moved to 3, by the way. It was at 4 an hour before the stream started.
Is there a reason why a lot of the props are locked, or is that just because we're 5 minutes away?
Probably because we're 5 minutes away. But our leans on props or our favorite picks today, I should say, were both on Tyson Williams. We had Tyson Williams under 62.5 rushing yards was Ben's favorite prop. I think if I can, I'm actually going to go put that in right now. And
literally right this second.
And the over on Tyson Williams receiving yards. So thank you all, as always, for being here. Time to go place in some last second bets. Time to go watch the game. And we will see you, or Ben will see you tomorrow.
Yep. With
Rob Vino at 4 o'clock Eastern with some early week college football talk.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes.
With your
all
bets.
Right, see you guys.